It's not going live. Do I have to refresh? No! Webcam is unavailable. Try again. I'm live. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation, here with today's Ask Michael Anything YouTube live event. If you can see off to my left shoulder, that is Lumiere right behind me, one of our two rescued kitty cats. I'm calling him Smiley tonight, who has decided to grace us with his presence. I have off camera Ms. Jessica Lee, or Mrs. Jessica Lee Sandler here. She is running the show. And what she wanted me to talk to you about tonight, I really want to talk with you about blasting past bottlenecks and subconscious blocks. But before we do that, she wanted me to mention that we are going to have a vault coming up. A vault, not like a pole vault, but meaning a place where we have all of our material, all of our different programs, and you can get access to almost anything that you want with Inspire Nation. I guess we're going to be offering it at two levels, kind of a basic level and a get access to everything level. And that'll be coming up. My guess is, I don't know, what do you figure? 2 months sooner than that? I like under promising for people.
I'm aiming for March. That's my goal.
You're aiming for a March delivery of that. Mm-hmm. And you were saying you wanted me to ask people what they want in the vault.
Yep.
So what I'd like to know from you, our Inspire Nation audience, is what do you want to see from us? What do you want to learn about? What do you want to hear about? What do you want us to create material about? Anything else, Jessica?
Well, what are some examples?
Well, some examples we're going to have, we have our automatic writing program in there? Access to that?
Yes, all the online courses.
Okay, so we'll have automatic writing. We'll have magical morning routine. We'll have magical evening routine. I'm going to chime in on different shows. Like last week, I think I had 3 phenomenal shows, but 2 of them in particular that really stood out were Robin Sharma of the 5 a.m. Miracle and Jay Papasan of the One Thing. And so I want to do kind of an informal blog or informal videos, real low key, not really a professional thing, just me sharing what I think about things. And so giving people real top level access to what I'm thinking about, what I'm talking about with the guest, what I've learned from it, how I'm putting it to use in our lives or for our coaching clients.
And I know some people have requested summaries, even outlines of these YouTube lives. So we'll have...
Oh, we're going to have summaries, and that's something we're actually looking to hire or get an intern on so that we can... I want to get a summary of every show and have the majority of those, I guess, for our members, but we're also going to have a certain number free for people, like key shows. I like giving away as much as we can. So I'm always a big fan of doing that. But I want to, if you become a member of this vault, you're going to get basically everything that we can to help support you on your journey. Plain and simple. So stay tuned for more details of that. That'll be coming up within, oh my gosh, I can't believe within a month.
So if you have any suggestions on what you'd like to see in a vault, please let us know.
Yes, that goes... I'm going to add to that. This is your show. Jessica and I run this. We want to give you all the assistance you can in helping you to truly shine bright. But let us know what you'd like to hear about. Let us know what you'd like to learn about. Let us know what interests you, is on your heart, or what your challenges or struggles are. In other words, if you flipped on this channel, what do you want to hear? Please tell us what that is. With that said, I want to talk about bottlenecks and subconscious blocks here tonight. And it's interesting. I like looking at synchronicities. We watched a kind of movie last night that supposedly took place in Wyoming. It actually took place filming in New Mexico, even though they claimed it was Wyoming. But that's interesting because part number 1 I want to tell you about, having to do with bottlenecks and subconscious blocks, is when Jessica and I were living on an Earth ship in New Mexico. Now, most people won't know what an Earth ship is. An Earth ship is an off-the-grid home that basically is an adobe-like structure built with car tires stuffed with dirt. They called it rammed earth, with a home built around it. So it's either completely recycled materials or completely straight out of the earth. It has its own solar, so its own electric, its own heat, its own water catchment, basically completely self-sustaining houses We were so excited when we moved into one in Taos, or just outside of Taos, New Mexico, right by the Royal Gorge ravine. It was phenomenally beautiful. Unfortunately, and this gets to the bottlenecks, I was out on book tour most of the time. When I would come back from book tour each weekend to spend the weekend with Jessica, I would find her a little bit thinner still, until she got muscular. She was strong living out in the desert by herself. I call it Tausian. She was very Tausian, but it started to look like I could take my hand and kind of wrap it around my forefinger and thumb, wrap it around her bicep. And what was happening is we were having water catchment problems. And before we knew that the whole water system was corrupted, she found that there was very little water that she could use. Now you think water, obviously you need it. She had got water from the store to make sure that she could drink, but she was eating less and less. Why is that? Because anytime she ate something, she had to wash it. And when she had to wash, then she didn't have the water to do it. The bottleneck on her eating, if you're following the chain along here, was the water. If we could fix the water, we could get her eating. And so we actually had to move from there because, well, we found out there were dead mice in the rat cistern, in the cistern. And Jessica, it was that time for you to boogie once we found that there were floating mice or rats in the water supply?
I believe that's when I crumbled and I started bawling.
I believe so. We packed everything up in a U-Haul, and that is a whole nother story having to do with a bottleneck or subconscious block. Do you mind if I share about that real briefly? All of our possessions made it into a moving truck, but we were on book tour, or I was, made it out to the West Coast where we thought we'd be moving. We ended up going to Maui instead. But all of our sessions made it into a storage unit where they still are, oh my gosh, 7 or 8 years later, all of our post-wedding possessions. Why haven't we just gone out and gotten them? Well, because there is a huge hurdle to wanting to fly out to California and sort everything, and then a huge hurdle and getting it back here. These are bottlenecks. These are tight and narrow squeezes that can cause everything to back up. In our case, we're planning on doing it this springtime. We have finally settled in Colorado. We're really happy where we are. We're not going to be having any big move. And so it's time to fly ourselves out there to get past that bottleneck and to be able to get it done. Another simple bottleneck that Jessica runs into or I run into, if the dishes aren't taken out of the dishwasher, dishes can pile up in the sink. If dishes pile up in the sink, then there's no place for the excess dishes to go and there's no place to cook. So you wonder, why isn't there food? It may not be that somebody didn't want to cook, but because there is a bottleneck involved. Another strange example of this is hills and traffic lights. You could live ridiculously close to a gym or to a place to work out or even to a grocery store and find yourself unable to get yourself out of the house to get there because of one particular hill or one traffic light. These are mental hurdles or literally subconscious blocks going back to the days before motorized vehicles where we look at that hill and we go, oh, it's too far. I can't make it there. And so we go past it. A few last examples, because reason I'm giving you these examples is they're going to help you to spot subconscious blocks in your own life or bottlenecks in your own life. So I recently delayed, and I'm going to move a plate here that is echoing to the sound. So bear with me, everyone. We have recently put together a Inspire Nation coaching certification program. And we wanted to release it at the beginning of the year, and I kept delaying finishing the program. And so I wasn't introducing it to people. I wasn't really moving forward. And Jessica's like, why? What's stopping you from moving forward? It was a great question. I'm so glad she challenges me. She really is my coach. And what it turns out is I was concerned about what happens after coaches finish the program. So I was concerned about something that would take place 7, 8, or 9 months out. Legitimate for me to be thinking about, but stopping a program from beginning because I'm worried it's going to happen after it takes place is a perfect example of a bottleneck and something that if you have awareness of, In this case, I stepped back and said, what is stopping me? Why am I dragging my feet? Is that a real limitation? Is that something we can overcome? And when I did that, everything began to flow. And now we have our program starting in just a few weeks for people. The last example, and probably the nearest and dearest to my heart, is my teeth. And I used to have a lot of challenges with my teeth. I struggled financially for a long time and had big blood sugar challenges. Blood sugar challenges, when your blood sugar crashes, it pulls calcium out of the bones, puts it in your bloodstream, basically acts as Tums to buffer your pH. It sucks the bone out of your teeth, and my teeth got brittle, and I ran into some serious teeth challenges. Well, this year was the year to finally take action on it, and I couldn't decide between two different methods of taking care of some of my teeth. Now, there's a lot of work that has to be done. That didn't need to be answered actually for quite a while. But that hurdle or that block running along or program running in my subconscious was stopping me from taking action in any area. I couldn't choose a dentist. I couldn't make an appointment because I couldn't decide on something for the distant or not so distant future. So it's really important, if we want to step ahead in our lives in whatever way, to go hunting for these blocks. How do we know if we have a block? If you know what you want to do, if you know what you want to do, but you can't get it done, that's a huge indication you have a bottleneck or a subconscious block. Or if you find yourself dragging your feet and unable to get going, that's a bottleneck or block as well. Personally, anything that we've brought to market, whether that's starting Inspire Nation, whether that is a coaching program, whether that is a recent group coaching, anything, without Jessica's assistance at least, if it's just myself on my own, there will be blocks that come up that I have to be able to identify in order to move forward. So that's step number one. Step number one, if you find yourself unable to move forward, or if you know what to do, but you can't get yourself to do it, find out if there's a block. First off, I would go to writing. I would even journal about this and ask yourself, why am I dragging my feet? Or what's the hang up? Why am I dragging my feet? Or what's the hang up? Be exceptionally honest with yourself with this one. Go in without judgment, without preconception. It may have been something that you totally couldn't have believed, but real nonetheless. Oftentimes, these are small things. Now, a real quirky one for myself is when we got our Tesla a couple weeks ago, we got to put it in the garage and we had some work to get done to it before I was willing to drive it a lot. But I was unwilling to start the work on the Tesla until I felt the garage was Tesla proof. Before that, I'm going, oh, it's not ready for this, not ready for this. I'm not comfortable about anything. On the surface, this sounds reasonable. But what's really going on was all the way back to my childhood ideas about making my bed or keeping my room tidy. So I didn't want to put my car, my new little supercar, in the garage if I didn't feel I could take care of things well enough. Basically, I reverted back to childhood programming. We often do that when it comes to bottlenecks. We revert back to our old programming, stopping ourselves from moving ahead. So if you have a bottleneck, if something's stopping you and you don't know why, step back from the problem. Go for a walk, go for a hike, or simply take time away from the problem. But here's the kicker. You need to actually put it into your subconscious. It's interesting. We're going to use the subconscious to solve a problem of the subconscious mind. Put it into your subconscious and then step back. So for instance, Jessica and I went for a snowshoeing hike, a beautiful hike with a foot or two. Well, you could sink in a couple feet, a little bit under a foot of fresh snow outside. Before the hike, we could say, we're struggling to move forward with X, Y, or Z. And just put that into the consciousness. I'd like when I come back an answer to whatever problem. Then go for your hike, go for your run, do whatever it is you're going to do without even thinking about it. You can do this when going to sleep as well. It's a brilliant idea to put your problems out there before you go to sleep. And then just literally, that's the expression goes, sleep on it. Don't worry about it. Don't think about it, but let the answer come to you. Another way to get help is to ask others. Well, I guess that means the definition of help. If you have a subconscious block or a bottleneck, that's a blind spot. It is so hard to see our own blind spots. Yet our loved ones, and maybe even our not so loved ones, are very keen to help us with our blind spots. Jessica is very willing to grab a fork and fork me in my side to wake me up to a blind spot. Wouldn't you agree with that?
It's a dull fork.
Well, I appreciate that. So ask others. Say, why do you see me being stuck? Why does it look like to you I'm unable to move forward? Now they have to feel safe in giving you the answer. You need to give them that space that you are completely open and willing to accept their criticism. But then it can be incredibly valuable about them. So when you do find your bottleneck or you do find a subconscious block, what do you do about them? First, see if there's a simple workaround. For instance, Jessica's back on the baking kick. I have very little willpower when it comes to her delicious muffin top cookies called Mookies. I will eat Mookie after Mookie after Mookie if they're out. They've got, I don't know if it's cranberries, they've got chocolate chips in it, they've got chia seeds, they have almost no sugar, they are still incredibly divine, and they disappear when they're out on the countertop. So no matter how I try to not eat too many Mookies, I can't get it done. That's okay. Not to judge myself. I know I love her baked goods too much. So what can I do? First, leave it in the container. Keep that container closed. That helps create a small barrier. Secondly, I know that from a health point of view, I would much rather have an apple than a Mookie. So the solution, the workaround to this, is have some chopped apples up on the counter in front of the Mookies or with the Mookies out of sight. That way, when I go to grab a Mookie, I go, oh, it's an apple. Not really what I want, be much healthier for me. And I go for the apple instead. I created a micro habit and I made it super simple to trip over success. In other words, I got the bottleneck entirely out of the way. If there's something that you want to get done, so I had a beautiful interview with Tama Keeves, author of Thriving Through Uncertainty, earlier today. And I'm sure we're going to tag team on some stuff in the future, and we're going to get together and we're really going to brainstorm on things. I know that I have a hard time scheduling things. That is a bottleneck of mine. I feel that I could run into a scarcity or lack consciousness when it comes to my calendar because I don't know how to fit all of these moving pieces around. So I could say to Tama at the end of the interview, I'll get back to you. We'll find a time to get together. And she could be going, yeah, that sounds good. And then a day, month, week, month, year, or more could go by without us setting something up. The bottleneck being concern of, well, if I put something here, then where am I going to fit this, and so forth and so on. Instead, at the end of the interview, what I said is, let's get something in the calendar now. This is huge. I want to repeat that. Let's get something in the calendar now. If you're running into challenges of getting things done, put it in the calendar, even if you have to move it at a later time. Writing things down more than doubles, probably 10x the chance of you actually getting something done. There's no problem, no shame for sure, in moving something later on, but at least you've got it down in writing. It's going to be a reminder, and you're going to be able to find a place that works better to help you get it done. Front load things early in the day. I spoke about this with Robin Sharma last week. I spoke about this with Jay Papasan. The best of the best of the best. It's not that they don't have work that they don't like to do. We all have work that we don't like to do. Even when we really want to focus on our core competency, there are always pieces of the puzzle that are ugly, that are not fun, that really have to get done rather than the things that we want to get done. Simple, simple solution. Put it before everything else. Front load, front load, front load. It is the surest fire way for success because you have more willpower, more energy, more oomph earlier in the day, particularly if you have a good morning routine where you get yourself up, you get yourself going, you get yourself energized, you get the blood flowing, then dive right into that most difficult task. And as I like to say almost each and every week, before you check your email, don't give away your power. Go to the most important thing, the most difficult thing for you first. I can't believe out of the corner of my eye, I'm seeing Mookie recipes flying across the chat room window. Front load those most important things when the willpower is at its strongest. Then lean into the uncomfortable things. If it's an uncomfortable discussion, lean into it. If there's something that you need to discuss with your partner and you've been putting it off and putting it off, you actually want to lean into it. It's going to help grow your motivation muscle stronger. It's going to help grow your confidence muscle stronger. Chances are it's going to improve your relationship as well. Don't put it off. Actually lean into it. The most important and difficult conversations, though, are the ones we get to have with ourselves. Take time to go quiet each day, to listen to your mind, to do some meditation, to step back from everything and lean into whatever discomfort is there. It is going to help you to truly blast past your subconscious blocks because you're basically taking a magnifying glass, a blowtorch, or a massive auditorium spotlight and putting it on whatever is the problem or the bottleneck, illuminating the difficulty and helping you to move through it. Ask yourself, why is this block here? How is it here to serve me? Blocks are not as they appear to be. They are here to serve us. I love to say, universe, and our blocks for that matter, works through us and for us, not to us. Every single block has a reason for it. It's slowing you down for a reason. It's causing you to look at something for a reason. It wants to get you uncomfortable so you can lean into something for a reason. So ask yourself, why is it there? How is it here to serve me? And then, of course, what can I do to work with this block or work around it? I cannot recommend some sort of journaling inquiry process. I'm a huge fan of automatic writing. I'm biased. We have our automatic writing program, but it's what's changed our lives, changed our business, and this whole show came out of it. There's morning pages. There's some others out there as well. Find yourself a process of inquiry, and each and every morning dive into it and ask if you're dragging your feet in any area, why am I dragging my feet? What's the block? What can I learn from this? How can I move past the bottleneck? How can I open up the bottleneck? How can I get this flow going? Few last things here, then we're going to open it up to questions. Tap on it. I love tapping. I love to go after blocks, subconscious blocks, with a clearing statement, such as, and there are 8 different points. I'm going to show you them real quickly. This, you're going to want to replay and replay. You want to say a real positive clearing statement, such as, I love myself fully and completely, means without judgment, even though I love myself fully and completely, even though I'm afraid of running out of money if I do this project. Random example. I'm afraid of running out of money if I do this project. I love myself completely and fully, even though I'm afraid of running out of money as I do this project. I'm on my karate chop point here. Then you could go up between your eyes. I call this bridge. I love myself completely and fully, even though I'm afraid of doing this and running out of money. Sides of my eyes, and you would actually repeat these points for 2 or 3 times before moving on. I love myself completely and fully, even though I'm afraid of doing this and running out of money. Beneath the eyes, centered beneath the eyes, I love myself completely and fully, even though I'm afraid of doing this and running out of money. Just below the nose, I love myself completely and fully, even though I'm afraid of doing this and running out of money. On your chin, I love myself completely and fully, even though I'm afraid of doing this and running out of money. Just an inch apart from where the collarbones come together, I love myself completely and fully, even though I'm afraid of doing this and running out of money. Just beneath your armpits, 2 or 3 inches below, I call this wings. I love myself completely and fully, even though I'm afraid of doing this and running out of money. Each point you would actually do for several cycles. So even though I'm afraid of doing this and running out of money, I love myself completely and fully, even though I'm afraid of doing this and running out of money. I love myself completely and fully, even though, and then go to the next point, and then to the next point. That's part A. Part B, here's the power point. Replace it with a positive. Saying something, for instance, you can go to each one of the points, going back to the karate point. I can do this project with grace and ease. Money comes to me with grace and ease. Going through each of the points. I see the money coming to me effortlessly. This project keeps growing better and better. I keep growing stronger and stronger. Stepping into my power, I see this project going incredibly well. I see this project going incredibly well. You move from point to point. I see this project moving incredibly well. And you can take just 5 minutes going through your different points, reprogramming your subconscious. In essence, you're doing self-hypnosis work, working on what is your trigger, what is your subconscious block, or what is the bottleneck that you need to move past. I also recommend processes such as emotion code to do very, very specific healing and removing of deep wounds and energetic blocks. I highly recommend journaling about things too. Write about the block, write about the emotions or the story behind it or the wounding behind it that needs to be cleared. Get it all out on paper. So there's a thing in self-help movement, or particularly positive thought, new thought, and kind of law of attraction or the secret stuff, which says what you think about, you bring about. So you better not even think about the negative. I completely disagree with that. To me, that creates a volcano. What you need to do is write out, get out in any way that you can, whatever is bothering you. Get it out on paper, write it all out, feel it all out. Discover, pull on that thread and see where it has to take you. Yes, after that, you can shred it and be done with it. I call that the better out than in exercise. The subconscious doesn't know the difference between the written word, the emotion, and the actual event. So you can get it out and shred it. But you need to get it out in order for it to see the light of day so that you can move forward. Couple last things. First off, go on a shamanic journey. This is something that we've done in the past when on Maui. It's something that I want to learn a lot more about moving forward. You can have your own drums. You can have your own rattle. You can go down basically into a cave in your mind's eye. Ask for assistance. Ask for a guide. And then ask your guide to help you clear or remove that subconscious block or that bottleneck. Stay there, work with the guide, and then come back out the same way that you went in. This is great, a great area. You can look and find more information on YouTube. And obviously, a teacher for a shamanic journey or a shaman is an incredibly powerful resource for helping you move past these blocks. A few last things. Examine your environment. Are there things internally or externally you can change to bring greater flow, to reduce the barrier to entry? For instance, clutter is a killer. It can stop your creativity cold. So in the house, Jessica's like, I'll make all the mookies that you want as long as there's no clutter in the kitchen. If there's clutter, she has no room to work. It's a true bottleneck. So look at your environment. If you're working on a desk that is stacked with a mountain of papers, how are you supposed to get anything done? How will you have any creativity? So look for those blocks. Look at the changes you can make in your environment. Do a heart coherence meditation. I cannot recommend this enough, a meditation to help get you into your heart space and help calm or soothe your inner child. To me, the biggest bottleneck is what our inner child feels is safe and feels he or her can handle. If she feels it's going to leave her overwhelmed or unsafe, she is going to stop you cold. Work with her. Let her know it's going to be all right. Do a meditation where you share that it's going to be all right. Do tapping to work on healing her. Do emotion code to work on healing her. But do whatever you can to work on your inner child so that she or he feels it's safe to step forward. And then last but not least here is ask, how is this block here to serve me? And then work with it. So for instance, if a wall comes up, we had wall after wall, door after door come out in front of us in these various projects we were doing in Maui, and we tried to find our way around, over, above, under, through these doors, when actually they were here to serve us and steer us in another direction. So don't say, I've got this block, I've got to blast through it, even though that's kind of the title of this. It may be that you need to pause or to step back, or to really ask what's going on and how is it here to serve me. Then you may even realize you're not even ready yet. That's okay too. Above and beyond everything else, respect and listen to your inner wisdom, and you can't go wrong. So with that said, I'm going to open it up to questions here. Before I do that, sometimes, I never like to put Jessica on the spot, but sometimes an idea or thought comes to her that she wants to share. I will ask, and if she has nothing to say, that is quite all right. I don't want to get myself in trouble by putting my Pookie on the spot.
But you just put me on the spot.
No, if there's nothing, your job was to run the chat room, get me questions, was not to say, here's what I want to talk about with subconscious blocks, was it?
No.
Then I'm not putting you on the spot.
Okay. The only thing I want to mention is that I'm going to post a link. If you're interested in private coaching with Michael, you can sign up for a free 15-minute strategy session.
That's true.
Our group coaching is already on its way, so we're not going to be running that again or opening up for registration for another few months.
I can see your gears turning there. She is in charge of all things program, and we do have a decent waiting list for coaching right now. So if you're interested in coaching, even in the springtime, you're going to want to get on board now. So because we've got two things going on. First off, I'm very, very grateful and thankful. I've become more and more popular. The farther we're going down this rabbit hole, the more tools that I have to share with people, the more I put myself out there, which means that our coaching is getting a little bit snugger, you could say, a little bit less room, or a little bit full where things are being moved out and out. And additionally, we're starting all these phenomenal programs, which are taking more of my bandwidth. So the amount of slots I have for individual coaching is going down at the same time. So if you've been thinking about coaching and you want to get a free strategy session and get in the queue, now is the best time, because it's just going to continue to go out and out and out. And I want to say, I want to help everybody. So I want to say, I really, really want to help you. At the same time, I am exceptionally grateful for where we are. And I express so much gratitude for us having full coaching as well. If I could have a clone, a mini me, I would certainly have one or a whole army of them.
Well, to accommodate more people, what we're going to do with the group coaching in the future is lower the price and open up to a lot more students. So yeah, it'll be a lot more affordable for people, a little bit less one-on-one attention, but
greater access. Yeah. So many more people are going to be able to join. Exactly. It's going to be, I think if I had done the math right, it's 1/8 or almost 1/10 of the price we're going to be offering. I guess it is actually 1/10 of the price. We're probably going to be offering it for the next go around for people to get to be able to help as many people as we possibly can. So I'm really excited about it. Yes, I should be looking here. I keep talking, so I've got the mic off to the side. I want to give you the best sound experience possible, but I also get to look at the camera because I want to give you the best visual experience as well. All right, well, let's open it up to some questions. And I see that, Sir Meowsers, you've been looking back. I wondered why. Now, it's because he has woken up and he may be threatening to find the most important paperwork around and dispose of it for us, so to speak. Insert clause here. But let's take some great questions.
Okay. Our first question is from Meredith, who writes, I have subconscious blocks, and most of us, nearly all of us do.
Yep.
I try to sit with them just to see what's coming up. Especially during this period of career transition, I'm getting the message that I'm getting ready for what is to come. I see this as a positive. Michael, do you have any thoughts? Thanks.
So a brilliant question, Meredith, and it's very exciting to see where you're going. I was discussing this with Tama Keeves earlier today, that there is no such thing as a plateau. There really is no such thing as being stuck. There's so much more going on under the surface in our subconscious, in the universe, with all the strings that are being pulled and put into play, that I recommend during this time, step forward slowly, but be patient as well. Allow the universe to chase you down. We so often want things coming to us in our time versus universe's time. But universe knows best. For instance, and this is what I was talking with Tama about, I write down every single day in my intention work, 1 million subscribers on YouTube, 1 million subscribers on YouTube. And we're well on our way toward that on iTunes, but we get to be there too in the future on YouTube, and I see it coming. It is when we hit 1 million subscribers on YouTube, there is going to be such a critical mass that it's like this massive hockey stick of a curve, and things just go ginormous, completely take off, as things already are, but taking off with smaller steps on YouTube right now. Here's the thing. I'm saying I want it today, I want it today, I want it today. However, if we had 1 million subscribers today, well, I feel confident we could handle it today. If we had 1 million subscribers yesterday, how would we handle the emails? How would we handle the queries, the anything that would come to us and be able to take care of all these pieces? Instead, it's much better, even though I want that viral tweet yesterday, it's much better that there is some incremental nature to things so we can grow comfortable in our ego, being able to handle 1 million. Not ego as in I'm great, but 1 million people means there's 999,000 likers and 1,000 or 10,000 not so likers. You have to be really comfortable and confident to be able to handle that. So you grow comfortable in that. You have to grow more comfortable in your systems as well. So what I'm saying, I believe it's Meredith, right?
Yes.
What I'm saying, Meredith, is be open. Allow it to come in the time that it comes. I always recommend stepping forward, doing your intention word and stepping forward, but with small steps rather than one giant, I'm going to move mountains to get this done. That allows the best results, the best ideas, and the best jobs to chase you down. Doesn't mean that you don't do the work, but you are open, you allow for it to come and the time that it should. So thank you so much, Meredith. And all the best in that best job coming to you for your highest good and the highest good of all.
Okay, our next question is from Anthony, who writes, he has blocks in making deadlines and sticking to them. It makes him want to forget about deadlines altogether, although he knows he needs to have deadlines. How to get back on track?
Can you repeat the first part of that question again for me?
Blocks in making deadlines and sticking to them can be challenging. Mm-hmm. Makes me want to forget about deadlines altogether, although I know I need to have deadlines. So
deadlines are great, Anthony, as long as you don't overwhelm yourself. So while I'm not a big fan of this word, and this word, in this case, I want to use the word in quotes, realistic. Make deadlines that aren't going to crush you. Be kind, gentle, easy, good. If there's something that's just been dragging on, you might put a really quick deadline, but then put reasonable deadlines on top of that. We have this idea that we have to be a taskmaster. We have to whip ourselves to get something done. We have to be like our parents or our teachers and really flog ourselves. But oftentimes we will rebel and push back. So instead, make a deadline for one thing, maybe reward yourself. Make another deadline on top of that, reward yourself again, and ask yourself, what works best for me? Is it front-loading everything? Is it having things done in the afternoon? Is it taking one thing a day or even one thing a week? There is no right answer, Anthony. You get to love yourself up. You get to ask yourself, what is the most loving way to conquer these challenges, to get through these deadlines? In other words, what would love do? And then step forward loving yourself up each step of the way, really almost taking hand in hand your inner child, your little Anthony, and saying, little Anthony, it's going to be all right. Or little Tony, it's going to be all right. I'm with you step by step. Love yourself up. And then one by one, chisel away tiny little baby steps toward your deadline.
Our next question is from Mark,
Yeah.
who writes, hi, Michael. How do you get over guilt when doing something for yourself for self-care and taking time away from family responsibilities?
That is a brilliant, brilliant question, Mark. How do you get over the guilt when doing something for yourself for self-care and taking time away from family responsibilities? Self-care is the ultimate family responsibility. If you don't take care of yourself, Mark, you have no energy to give to anybody else. We've been told, we've been sold, what do they call it? A bill of goods. We've been sold a lie growing up that we have to martyr and sacrifice ourselves in order to help others. Nothing could be further from the truth. Sacrificing yourself to help others helps no one. It's not sustainable. And if it comes to having kids, they're watching what you're doing, not what you're saying. And if you're saying, I have to slave away and work and sacrifice myself and not take care of myself in order to help you have a better life, what you're teaching them is that they have to be miserable and sacrifice themselves and their own happiness in order to take care of somebody else. And it perpetuates a cycle of unhappiness. Let the guilt go. Do some tapping work. Do some journaling on this. Do some emotion code work to move past the guilt. You have a responsibility, no matter what anybody else says, to take care of your health and well-being first. And then you will have the wellspring. You will have the bank account. You will have the patience, the wherewithal to be able to help them better as well. If I said I'm just going to sacrifice myself to help Jessica, this relationship would be over because she wouldn't tolerate the miserable person that I would be if I'm not taking care of myself. So go for it, Mark. Take care of yourself.
Okay, our next question is from Valerie.
Yes.
I have a hard time with the unconscious blocks. How to know they are there instead of getting off guard?
So, Valerie, this is a process of inquiry. This is a process of going to journaling, of stepping back and asking, why aren't I able to step forward? What is stopping me in my path? Why do I get weird about this? Or most importantly, why is it that I know what I want to get done? And this is the most important one. I know what I want to get done, but I'm unable to step forward. If that is there, there's a block. And I would start free-form writing almost without thought, get some theta brainwave entrainment music going, and just start writing about this thing and start pulling on the string. I would go to bed and I would say, universe, guides, archangels, God, inner wisdom, whatever you believe in. Giant cheeseburger in the sky. I joke about that one. But put that out there and say, I need help. I don't know why I'm not able to move forward. Can you tell me what it is? Can I wake up and have an answer? It may take you a while. It may not be one night that you don't get it and you go, it doesn't work. Keep putting that question out there and the answers will start to come to you. If you have loved ones in your life who you can ask them, do you see a reason that I'm not moving forward? If and only if you're confident they're not going to really criticize you. For instance, I love my parents very, very dearly, but I learned early on in my adult life, if I wanted to do A and I asked them about it, they were going to flip me upside down and backwards, press all my buttons, and before I know it, I was going to want to do B. That would not be who to ask about your subconscious blocks. Start pulling at this string, though. You will find the answers, and you'll be able to move forward. Next question.
Our next question is from Ebuddy 1999.
Yes.
Michael, I keep pressing the snooze button instead of getting up. 5-second rule, willpower, meditation, etc. doesn't work for me. What else can I do to try to overcome this bottleneck?
So, Ebuddy, I've got two answers. The first one you're going to like. The second one you are going to hate. Answer number one is get the screaming loudest alarm clock that you can and keep it on the other side of the room. I used to have a device that truckers used in rest stops that was 110, 120 decibels called the Screaming Meanie. You would not ignore this. You could get back into bed, but you wouldn't ignore it. That's A. B, that's the answer you're going to like. And actually, I'm going to throw a C in here. B is the answer you're not going to like. Ebuddy, I hate to say this, but it all comes down to a decision. If you were told you're going to die tomorrow if you don't get out of bed as soon as the alarm goes off, when the alarm goes off, you would jump out of bed, assuming that you want to live. And so it always comes down to a decision. If you're told, if you hit that snooze button one more time and I'm serious, buddy, I'm going to divorce you, you would probably get out of bed right away. So it is all a choice. Make the choice and stick to it. Now, C, I'm going to give you a little out. We get to ask ourselves, not what do I get to gain by staying in bed? Well, it might be a worthy question. From a study point of view, you don't gain anything in terms of sleep. You may be avoiding something in life, and that gets to look at. But let's look at the mechanism behind it. Is it something going on in the morning that you're avoiding, that is keeping you in bed, that you're miserable about your life, that you don't want to step forward, that you don't like your job, you don't like a relationship? That's worth looking at. Or is there something in your evening that you're doing or not doing that's getting you to bed late, that's leaving you exhausted in the morning as well? So you get to look at the C, which stands for causes, in this case, Ebuddy 2. You can do this. I have been in this case, and in fact, I flipped from an evening person to a morning person. I know you can do this, to where you are, waking up, saying a few gratitude prayers, thankful for my house. I'm thankful for my job. I'm thankful for where I'm going. Whatever you're truly thankful for, get the feet on the floor, get the day started, and you'll be on fire. Next question.
Your next question is from Nicole. Michael, do you recommend any tools for higher consciousness integration, embodying more of my higher self and putting this channeled energy in physical form, words, books, to be a clearer vessel?
That's a great question, Nicole. There are countless number of exercises on this. I like starting with a real basic, which is a heart coherence meditation. Getting in sync with the heart helps connect all of your different centers. Certainly, there are visualization exercises that you can do with your chakras, with moving energy, with Qigong exercises. There is no end to it. I've got to admit, I don't know enough about it, but I have seen tremendous results with what Jessica is doing with Dr. Joe Dispenza work. And I'm not sure if this is the time and the place to share about it, but I think that may be a phenomenal tool, or even library of tools to look at.
Actually, that's not what came to mind when I was reading this question. What came to mind was a feeling of wanting more grounding. So I was thinking spending more time in direct contact with the earth. I think Nicole mentioned that she's taking lots of walks in nature, but actually physically making direct contact with the earth. So I don't know where she is, but if it's warm enough, walking barefoot, you could definitely hug trees.
It sounds funny, although it's finally getting accepted. There is an amazing power, and it's studied, and it's real, and there's a science behind it now of getting in touch with trees.
Yeah. So like Dr. Joe's work isn't really about getting back into your body. So that's why.
And I'm seeing it as getting in touch with that higher level of energy,
right.
which is.
It sounds like she's already succeeding at that. So
then it's time to get grounded. It's time for the exact reverse. You can get too spun. We are here incarnate in our bodies for a reason. And I think that is to learn how to use them as, to be a spiritual being and truly have a physical experience, rather than kind of float out of our bodies and really check out for this experience. Time for, actually, we've got time for about 9 or 10 more minutes worth of questions here. What do we have?
Okay. Our next question is from Michael. Hi, Michael. Both me and my girlfriend have PTSD issues. How to help with this?
Oh, Michael, I have been there, and truth be told, Michael, I had created some in Jessica through mine as well. Now, a lot of them, some of them dated back to childhood, but some of them came from getting hit by a car when racing bicycles in Europe. That made me a nutter, Michael, at times. Really short fuse, really scary at times, irrational, overwhelmed, and the list goes on and on. I've tried things like EMDR, didn't do that much for me. EFT tapping did a bunch. Emotion code did a bunch. Automatic writing was probably my saving grace because it helped me to start to unravel all of the strings. Jessica was very, very supportive and helped pointing out when I was starting to spin or when I was starting to, in a sense, leave my body, not as an out-of-body experience, but really go into an extreme fight or flight response. After I worked on myself, I had to do it's a miracle. PTSD is such a relationship killer. It's a killer. And there's a reason so many people come back, for instance, from the Middle East after serving in the U.S. Armed Forces and check out. PTSD is a killer. Doesn't have to be. And it doesn't, in my opinion, need long-term medication. There are some amazing ways to heal from it. But it can be a relationship killer. And I had to do so much work on Jessica to help heal the wounds that guilty as charged here, that I helped create. And I'm not sure if you need or want to speak about that on any level, but I had to do a lot of PTSD clearing emotion code work with you.
I am distracted by the kitty cat.
All right. So why don't you go take care of the kitty cat? Do you have one more question you want to give me here? And while Sir Meowsers is attempting to tear things up.
Our next question is from Angie.
I'm going to go rescue whatever it is.
Angie writes, I definitely have blocks, but I feel overwhelmed with tools, tapping, clearing programs. Do you have any suggestions as to where to start or which direction I should go in?
Sir Meowsers, do you want to answer that? Blocks, overwhelmed by tools, any idea where to start or which direction to go in? And the answer to me is very simple, Angie. Find one that feels best for you now. Doesn't have to be the perfect tool, but which one feels best for you now, and play with that. One of the big challenges we have in self-help is we get completely overwhelmed, and I'm as guilty of it as anybody else, of giving too many tools and too many different things to help, when really the answer is one thing. Choose one tool that you want to use for now and use that day after day until you get really good at it. Then you can just choose whether you want to go to another thing or not. I love emotion code for clearing subconscious blocks. It is an all-time favorite of mine. If I am trying to program in something to my subconscious, I go typically to EFT tapping. I can do self-hypnosis work. I can create theta brain entrainment music and scripts behind it. But I just love going to tapping and inserting a new positive program. So find one that works for you and back off the throttle. We don't need to solve all of our, quote, life challenges overnight. You're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. You are on path. All we're going to do is improve little by little, day after day. But if you improve just 1% a day or 1% a week, tiny little gains, it's much more sustainable. You're not going to burn out, and you're going to be in this game for the long haul. So be extra loving, kind, and gentle to yourself. Let things come over time. Great example of this. I've got mercury in my mouth. My God, do I want it out of my mouth? But the dentist is telling me there's some other things that get to be taken care of first. You get to take things in order. You made it this long, Michael, with the mercury in your mouth. Chances are you're going to be okay for a few more weeks. Chances are, is it Valerie?
Yes.
Chances are, Valerie, if you take things nice and kind and loving and gentle and slowly, you will move way beyond your blocks, But the most important thing, I'm going to put you down now, Meowsers. Thank you. The most important thing, is to be extra kind and loving and super, super gentle to yourself in the process. I used to work with parents and their kids a long time ago, significant amount of work with the kids. And what I taught the parents is above and beyond anything else, protect the relationship and the communication with your child. Everything else can be fixed over time. But if you haven't protected the relationship and you haven't protected those lines of communication, everything shuts down. That goes for the child. It goes tenfold for ourselves. If we push ourselves too hard, if we throttle ourselves, if we require too much of ourselves, or if we get down on ourselves, we shut down that communication and we really clamp the pipeline closed. Love yourself up like there's no tomorrow, and then go into things kind and gentle, slow and good. Last question.
Last question from Valerie. Do you have morning routines that help you love living your life?
Oh my God, yes. And I love my routine. And I don't want to say, and I was talking with Robin Sharma about this. His interview will be out in a day or two. He has a book called The 5 a.m. Club. I absolutely love it. No one routine is right for everyone, Valerie. So with that said, here's my routine. Here's what I do. I wake up in the morning. I say a couple gratitude prayers. Say, give thanks for one or two special things in my life. I go and head downstairs to the studio, and I, brush my teeth, get some hot water, drink that hot water, shave because my face gets really scratchy when I journal. Then I go and I put on my headphones. I have a little tool from HeartMath that I put on my ear, and I do about a 20 to 30 minute heart coherence meditation. Might do an extended meditation from there, sending myself all the love in the world that I can, sending out to the world and to Jessica and to you, to everyone who listens to our show, as much love as I can. And so I'm just beaming love for 20 or 30 minutes. And then I either do a silent meditation after that, depending on the time, or then I go into my automatic writing and I'm asking inner wisdom, angels, guides, gods, whatever we want to call it. What do I need to know today? What's most important? What's going on? What are the lessons? And I write for 20, 30 minutes, could be an hour. Then I do some morning intention work. We have a tool called the Woohoo 8, and I will use that and do some manifestation and intention work. Then I go and I consider it the most amazing green smoothies. Jessica would say they're kind of medicinal. I make a good healthy green smoothie for us. We take that. I may speak with my assistant to see what's coming up for the day. I do not check email yet because I don't want to give away my power. Then I go to the gym each and every weekday morning to get the blood flowing. Even if I only have 20 or 30 minutes, I'm going to get to the gym. And then I come back, it's check email, maybe eat a good breakfast. Hopefully there's the time for that. And then dive into a coaching client before it's time to grab the book of the day, read my book, prepare my questions, do my interview. And then we're into early afternoon and it's time to go out and play and exercise for a little bit before I kind of rinse and repeat and do it again. Design your own system. Design your morning, design your life. Rock your morning and you will be rocking your life. That's all I've got. I'm going to check in with Jessica. I'm not putting her on the spot. I expect her not to have anything to say, but I want to see if there's anything she wants to add on anything or about upcoming programs or anything relogistic related. And if not, then we'll wrap things up. I think she just shook her head. And can you repeat that for everybody?
I said, I'm good.
All right. So I want to thank you, Jessica. I don't thank you enough for doing this. Not only she's the producer, she runs almost everything behind the scenes. The show would not exist without her. And certainly this YouTube Live would not exist as well We may be looking at expanding, doing something on Instagram or something on Facebook. If there is another medium that you like even better than YouTube, please let us know what that is. We really want all of your suggestions, what you'd like to see, what you'd like in the vault, what topics you want on the show, how you would like to ingest this best. For instance, we're looking at maybe chopping up some short videos. What is your favorite way of ingesting content on YouTube? And then last but not least, I rarely say this, but we are supported 100% by you, our audience. So if you like what you're hearing, if you like the show, come support us on Patreon. That is our crowdfunding source that helps keep everything going. That is Patreon.com/Inspire Nation, I believe. Become a Backstage Pass member, become a member of the Inspire Nation family, and help support the show. That's all I've got from here. Step back, look for those blocks, love yourself up when you find them, and start to unraveling them. I ended Tam Akiev's interview with this question. I'm going to offer it to you as well. When you feel stuck, when you're not sure where to turn, when you feel pinned into a corner or worse, ask yourself this one simple question. What would love do? Figure out what's the most loving, kind, and gentle answer, and you will be well on your way. I want to thank you so much for joining us here tonight. I love working with you guys. We are both here to serve you. So we love you guys. We love you guys. We love you guys. Look forward to seeing you again next week. We have a special treat. I believe it is 2 weeks out. It will be on the, I believe it's the 18th. So maybe that's actually 3 weeks from now. So I don't want to confuse anybody. But on the 18th, I just got the go-ahead and the approval. Jessica hasn't even heard this yet. To interview my parents for the YouTube Live. That will be 3 weeks from yesterday. We'll be on Tuesdays until then. Then that week we will be on Monday because I'm going to visit my folks. So that's it from here. Wishing you the most beautiful evening ahead, the most beautiful week ahead, above and beyond all else. Shine bright. Woohoo! We love you guys. Be well.